Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your May 2025 tarot card reading. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a couple of oracle cards, okay? And for those of you who are kind of needing or wanting a little bit more personalization, especially as we go through this reading, if you feel like that's something that you might need, I do have private readings available for booking. So if you want to check that out, I have all the information down in the description box and the comment thread down below. Okay, so we start Scorpio with a card that says rebirth, which of course is one of the scorpionic themes. Okay, we do have Mars, Pluto retrograde. Okay, so Pluto being your modern ruler in modern Western astrology is going to be retrograding in Aquarius in your fourth house. We also have Mars now finally coming out of his retrograde at the beginning of May, his post-shadow phase anyway, and making his way through Leo, finally coming into that final opposition with Pluto. It's finally out of the way. And I think this is a time where Scorpio really can kind of feel that sense of release from the transformative time that started happening last year. I suspect that, September, October last year, maybe even November for some of you, there have been challenges. It's been kind of maybe feeling like you've been running through molasses a little bit. Maybe you haven't really experienced the type of growth or movement that you thought you were going to be able to over the past 6 months or so. But I feel like whatever pressure or whatever obstacles or issues that you had that were preventing progress is now kind of lifted and out of the way. And now you get to really experience what you always were working for. Right? This is the moment, I think, where you thought it was going to happen 6 months ago. You thought it was going to happen 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. And that's like, kind of kept like not happening. But now I think you're more able to make things happen. Things can have more forward motion. You can actually bring things into reality. You can manifest things a little bit more easily. And you can really start to just move on. And I think maybe many Scorpios, like I say, I think there's going to be a feeling of relief that you'll be able to feel as we make our way into May. I'm not going to say it's going to be the easiest month, and I think there are lots of things that you're going to have to do, and there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, but at least now you don't have that energetic pushback that maybe you had been experiencing the past several months. So let's go ahead and see what else comes through. Oh, actually, hold on. I'm not using that deck. Not till the very end of the comprehensive. We're using the animal spirit. So what is it that Scorpio needs to know for May 2025? It's a pig spirit, which says use your mind wisely. So it speaks to your intellectual mind, your decision making, your ability to carry through with things, your ability to carry things through over the finish line, your ability to associate with the right people. For some reason, I'm kind of feeling like things are a bit fragile right now, and if you don't push into this new territory and you don't push into this kind of this uncomfortable place that's your place of growth and expansion, I'm not going to say you're going to just like sink right back into the way it's always been, but I just think there's going to be further delays that you don't need and further delays that I think you really don't want, and so you have to kind of do the mind over matter thing right now and kind of just say, even if I don't feel like it, I'm going to do it today. Even if I don't feel like it, even if I'm scared, even if I'm feeling insecure, even if I have no idea how this is going to go, I just got to do it. And I think that's how you can use your mind wisely, is to put yourself on that right track and understand that this is fragile and that things could fall apart. And this whole new kind of thing that you're trying to create and do, like, you're not far enough along yet that it's stable and secure enough. So you have to continue to put into it so that it can be stable and secure. Okay, whoops, hold on. Great. Make sure I don't put those in an upside down. Okay, we'll take this one. Let me fix those cards. Hold on. I'll fix them in just a minute. Hold on. Okay, one of the things that I had mentioned, okay, we've got a lot of cups here. So one of the things that I'd mentioned was paying attention to those with whom you associate. So I'm looking at this Three of Cups. Now, on one hand, the Three of Cups can be incredibly positive. There can be emotional connections, a lot of mutual support, a lot of mentorship, and just kind of camaraderie that happens through the Three of Cups. So being around successful people who are friendly, you can go out, for dinner, go out for music, whatever, have a good time. That's all great. That's wonderful. And I think you should do that if you can do that. But you also want to be really careful of associating with people that maybe are gossipy or kind of have that kind of clique mentality, or they're just kind of very exclusive, and not in a good way. I think there's sometimes there's good exclusivity and not super great exclusivity. And we don't want people who exclude others for petty or silly reasons. And also people who do not have empathy or understanding for others' humanity, okay? You just have to be careful and make sure you're choosing wisely, right? Use your mind wisely and choose your circle carefully, because these are people that can either build you up or pull you down. And the Three of Cups can very easily be like a leakage or a drain of energy. And we'll see what the clarifiers have to say about it. Maybe I'm being a little overly dramatic about it, but I just want to make sure, because like I say, when we're in this process of rebirth, we're still quite vulnerable. And with the Pluto retrograde beginning on May 4th, that evolution, it's going to last a few months, but this is a period of evolution when Pluto retrogrades. This is when the evolution actually starts to take place. And so all these kind of this feeling of like things haven't been progressing forward, now they can really start to break forward. But you want to make sure that you're not kind of souring the experience with the wrong type of crowd, okay? And with the Six of Cups, there does seem to be some kind of a past connection going on here. And I don't know if it's a past connection with your child self, or if there is an actual child, if you have a child. There could also be some type of a gift or act of generosity that comes through. I'm feeling, because that Seven of Cups is right next to it, for some reason I'm feeling skeptical of that kind of thing. For some reason this whole row kind of gives me like a little bit of skepticism vibes. Maybe I'm just picking up on the Scorpio kind of nature. But I'd be careful of offers. I'd be careful of offers. It's not to say they're all bad, because there might be great offers on the table. And I'm not telling you to reject the great offers. That's why you have to use your mind wisely. But you also have to know like what's in line with your future and what isn't. What is in line with the type of life you want to lead and what isn't. Because I'm looking at this Seven of Cups and I feel like this Six of Cups offering, or this Six of Cups past connection, or whatever it is, kind of puts you into a bit of a spiral and makes things confused. And I think it makes things uncertain. But you're in a place where you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to evolve and you're wanting to not only just go through this transformation, but you're wanting to actually experience the benefits of this transformation, right? You want the good things, the high value that comes from a transformation. So something bothers me here. I'm going to pull out more cards. I'm not really quite sure exactly what's going on. It's just very unsettling to me. And it makes me a little bit nervous. Not that it's bad. I don't think anything bad is happening. It's just a matter of like, is it right? That's more of it. Like, is it right? Is it right for you? Is it right for your future? Is it right for your goals? Because if something is putting you into a state of confusion, probably the answer is no. No, it is not right. Okay. Now, okay, I'm really happy with this next row because as the month progresses, I feel like that confusion dissipates actually quite easily. And it's because I think you have your head on your shoulders. And I think it's because you're paying attention to the way that things make you feel. You're paying attention to your intuition. You're paying attention to the vibes that people give off. Like if people are giving off bad vibes, Scorpio is going to have nothing to do with it. And I hate to be skeptical about such beautiful cards because I think in general, Three of Cups, Six of Cups, these can be quite beautiful and they can be positive. And especially that Six of Cups with children, it can be some kind of a driver or a sense of purpose for everything. But for whatever reason, I think I'm getting the best of them and the not so good of these cards. So we want to be aware of both because, again, there are going to be great crowds and great people and great connections. But again, something is going to happen that's going to kind of make you go like, I don't really understand, or this confuses me. But it's the fact that it confuses you alone that tells you this is not right. Because I think you should have a great deal of clarity right now, Scorpio. I don't think you should be hemming and hawing and wondering and not feeling sure. Because I think you've already established what track you want to be on. I think you've already established what path you need in order to succeed, in order to accomplish your goals. And the Queen of Swords, I think, is capable of sorting through that Seven of Cups real quick. I'm really happy she came out because it tells me that you won't be fooled. It tells me that you will not be tricked or you will not be lured into something that's really just not for you. It tells me that you will sit back carefully and quietly and probably analyze and go down the list of, what's pros and what's cons and what's good and what's not great. But then you are going to choose something, you're going to choose a path, some kind of a new spark is going to hit and you're going to say, okay, this is what I need to be following right here. I don't need to be following anything that's going to derail me or that's going to spin me out or kind of create a haze. And if someone else or other people are coming in and creating confusion in your life, are those really the right people? And again, they might be good people. But good people and the right people are not necessarily the same thing. So this might be hard to acknowledge and hard to understand, but I think that you need to choose the right people right now for you, for your goals, for your ambitions, for your dreams. Because the Ace of Wands, it needs fuel. It needs you to not only, because it kind of ignites on its own. It's an ace, so it kind of is handed to you, so it ignites. But you have to keep that fire alive, meaning you have to invest. You have to give interest. You have to talk about it. You have to grow the Ace of Wands. And this is going to require you, a lot from you, and it is going to require boundaries. Okay? You have to protect this. And then you have to take this and you have to make something of it. And I think throughout the course of May, there is actually a lot of action and there's a lot of accomplishment with the Queen of Wands especially. I do feel like you're both queens. You're coming out as both. So you have the power of the mind and you have the power of the spirit. And those two things are working together and they are moving in the same direction, and they are supportive of these new ignitions. okay, on these new ventures that you're wanting to take on. There is no confusion here. And I don't necessarily think that this Ace of Wands has anything to do with anything that's going on up here. But I think the Ace of Wands comes later. So your trick here is saying no to things that confuse you. It's saying no to people that just don't seem to quite fit, like a square peg in a round hole. Okay, nothing's wrong with a square peg, nothing's wrong with a round hole. It's just they just don't go together. All right, so I think using your mind wisely, you are going to have to admit to yourself when things just are not right. Sometimes that's one of the hardest things to do. But once you do, that is the moment when that Ace of Wands comes in, because now you have this space. And again, Three of Cups, if these are people that lift you up, and you can surround yourself with people that are powerhouses in their own right, and they are ambitious, and they are strong, and they are creative, and they're not trying to stomp on your toes in any way, they can be supportive of this here. Okay, they're not going to try to confuse you. The right people will not try to confuse you with the Ace of Wands, but what they will do is they will encourage you and they will help guide you and say, Scorpio, this is what you need to do in the face of this Ace of Wands. This is how you take the Ace of Wands and create a wonderful life and create a wonderful project and create a wonderful opportunity for yourself, okay? And I think you get very fired up, okay? There's a lot of electricity, a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity that pumps through. Not only do we have Mars in Leo, but we also have a Sun-Uranus conjunction opposite of you over in Taurus. And I think that those two things just isolated by themselves, I know there's other things going on, but those two things can really ramp up the energy quite a bit, okay? Let's see what else comes through for you, Scorpio, with the final row. What else does Scorpio need to know for as we move into Gemini season? Okay. Gemini season feels like a lot of faith. Okay, because I think that Ace of Wands, it kind of changes the game a little bit. And you're sitting back of like, okay, well, all I can do is trust that my efforts are going to work and trust that, things are going to, pan out, and I have to have faith not only in a higher power, but I have to have faith in myself as well. And the moon often suggests, actually the moon and high priestess both often suggest that there's a lot of subconscious stuff that you're going to have to really work through. Gemini season, as the sun comes into Gemini, it's the beginning of the 8th house. All right, so another kind of rebirth type of theme that's coming out. Now, keeping in mind that throughout June, now we're not to the June reading yet, this is not happening in May, but when we are in Gemini season, Jupiter, which has been in your 8th house for a year now, is actually going to be moving into Cancer. So we're not there yet. I'm not trying to get a little too ahead of ourselves, but the 8th house, while the sun is coming into the 8th house, Jupiter is going to be leaving the 8th house. So there's a lot of activity there in that 8th house, which of course is a transformative house. There's a lot of focus on money, a lot of focus on certain relationships, on certain bonds. And it's also very, very focused on getting out of places, right? Places that have been problematic, where maybe we've been feeling like we've been buried under something, right? Something has been very heavy on our shoulders. Maybe we have a lot of responsibility. We've got a big project. We have a relationship that's maybe weighing a lot on us. Whatever the case may be, as the sun comes in and Jupiter leaves, this is a time where we probably are going to start having some epiphanies. We're probably going to start seeing things from a totally different perspective. And yes, we are going to have to admit certain things to ourselves about ourselves, which is part of a healing process. It's often part of our rebirth process. We are going to have to kind of accept certain changes and accept certain realities, which maybe are very difficult to accept. We might have to deal with our own pride a little bit here, because we might be stubborn and say, well, I don't want to accept that, or I don't want to believe that that's true. That is going to be hard for you. That's going to be maybe not the best decision. You have to use your mind wisely and look at the reality of things, okay? We're going to have to look at the reality of things. And it might not be the prettiest picture as we enter into Gemini season, but I think as we make our way into June, you are absolutely going to be in a different state of mind. The Page of Coins is a little more one step at a time, more of a student. He's more willing to kind of just put one foot in front of the other. He's willing to learn. He's willing to apply. I often see this as like an apprenticeship kind of energy. So you're willing to kind of like say, okay, I'm in this new rebirth phase. I don't have the resistance that I had before. I have this new venture. I know I'm kind of a little bit afraid. I know that I have stuff, and I know I'm going to need to accept certain things, but I've come to that point of acceptance, and now I can start to move on. And I think this is going to be I think you have multiple breakthrough moments here, but I think this is going to be a time of real breakthrough, because it seems like you've kind of dealt with, maybe you've taken a few days or a week or whatever and just kind of like let something sink in. It's like, okay, this is the reality. And you get to move on from there, and you get to make wise decisions from there. And I do see a lot of wisdom coming through here. I don't see you being foolish in any capacity, so that's nothing to worry about. I really don't think you have anything to worry about at all. It's just a matter of like kind of letting the truth be the truth, and letting yourself admit certain truths here, and being willing to maybe kind of start fresh a little bit in Gemini season, which this is going to be great for you, because as Jupiter comes in through Cancer, we'll talk more about it next month, but that's in a really auspicious, not only zodiac sign, it's his sign of exaltation, but it's also an auspicious house for Jupiter to be in, the ninth house. So I think that Jupiter transit is going to be very positive for Scorpio on multiple fronts, the sign placement and the house placement. Plus, it's also going to be in a beautiful trine with your sign as well. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different positive things there, but we got to get Jupiter out first. A lot of lessons we had to learn with Jupiter in the 8th. So now you get to start fresh here and kind of build on this Ace of Wands. So there's kind of a lot of different things going on here. It's a little bit of a roller coaster-y kind of ride. However, I think you finish off in control, you finish off at peace. I think you feel strong, because even though this is humbled, there's a lot of power in that humility, and I think you know that, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. Okay, we're going to go much deeper into all of these. We're going to pull out 3 cards per card, so another 27 cards, and we're going to talk for another 25 to 30 minutes or so. So if you want to join me, you are more than welcome. So the link for that will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. All right, so let's go ahead and see what comes through with the 3 of Cups. What is it that Scorpio needs to know about the 3 of Cups? Another 6 of Cups here. And Judgment. I'm sorry, Justice, Justice. And 6 of Cups with the Death card. Yeah, see, I knew that 6 of Cups was sitting uneasy with me for some reason. And the High Priestess again. 7 of Cups. Knight of Swords. 10 of Cups and Temperance. A lot of extreme things going on there. Queen of Swords, beautiful Magician, beautiful 3 of Wands. Excellent. We love that. Another 7 of Cups. Don't mind that 7 of Cups. Another Queen of Wands, 8 of Wands. Hermit. For the Queen of Wands, we have a Knight of Wands. Queen of Cups. A lot of different pacing. It's very like fast and slow and fast and slow. Speed up, slow down. Another Queen of Swords here. Eight of Swords. Four of Wands. And a lot of contradictions. So you're going to have to deal with the contradictions a little bit, Scorpio. Five of Swords. 10 of Wands. Five of Coins. And then we have another page. I don't mind the pages this month either. Beautiful. Another Ace of Wands. And a Hierophant. Excellent. Okay, so we really finished off strong. June's going to be a very strong month. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and pick up here in the comprehensive. So again, if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much. I hope you have an amazing May, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.